Anyhow, what I want to do is concentrate on the less that was coming out of my hearing of both of these talks, because I want to raise some questions about the constitutional status of the less and how much less, and what our base starting point is. I mean, I agree with almost everything that David Wakeland said and Ken Slent said. I think we can look at the kinds of efficiencies that he was talking about. And as he mentioned, I've been trying to do some work with the Say Yes people in Syracuse on that. I certainly agree that we should be raising our standards and moving toward the Common Core and college and career readiness. These are all really great goals. But we really have to get a handle on the resource question of what you need to do all of that. What was promised, if we got full funding, was several billion more than that. So really the gap is something like $5 billion. It's not $2 billion. That's what the state of New York promised all of you in 2007. And by the way, they have not wiped that promise off the books. It's not that Governor Cuomo came in the legislature and said, well, this is a whole new ball game. We've got to do better with less, we've got to do more with less or whatever. They said, well, this is the amount that we determined that you needed. We're in bad times, so give us a little more time. Give us 5 more years, and we promised by 2016 to 2017, you'll get all this money we promised. But in the meantime, we've got to have all these gap adjustments. But let me tell you, from a legal point of view, the bottom line on this question. And for me, the bottom line is, who's got the burden of proof? Who's got the responsibility to demonstrate that you can save the money before we start cutting it? Now, I look at this from the point of view of children's rights. All the children in this state have a constitutional right to the opportunity for sound basic education. In 2007, the legislature in its wisdom looked at the situation and said, all right, here's how many dollars you're going to need, and we're going to phase it in over 4 years, and we're going to get there, and at that level of funding, kids can have a sound basic education. So that's, for me, the starting point. I think because the governor and the legislature have not met their constitutional burden, that the present state aid formula system in New York is unconstitutional for at least 4 basic reasons. All right, first is the large funding reductions that we've essentially gotten $5 billion in cuts without any showing that you're able to provide sound basic education at this lower level. Now, second, we have the deferral. So one argument might be, okay, you do need this $5 billion, but because they're bad economic times, give us 5 years to develop all these efficiencies and these ways of doing things, and we'll give you the money in 5 years. Now, maybe I'm giving David an idea about how they can justify the deferral, and maybe within 5 years he can show us how it can be done. But from a legal point of view, they don't have authority to wait 5 years. Kids have these constitutional rights today. And the Court of Appeals basically limited the phase-in position to 4 years. All right, the third thing that I think is a very clear constitutional violation is the budget cap. The budget cap on, the tax cap on real estate property taxes. From a constitutional point of view, the buck stops with the state of New York. It doesn't stop with each of your school districts. Now, if they are going to cap the amount that a local school district can raise, and that means, as we just heard from one of the eloquent speakers back there, that because of the cap, we can't get enough money to maintain a quality education for our kids. And I was hearing this is a district that maybe is providing a sound basic education, so they're saying we're going to go below sound basic education because of this real property tax. Well, that's a violation of the Constitution, and the state is responsible. Now, if New York State wanted to come in and say, we want relief for the local property taxpayers, and therefore we're going to impose this cap, but we will make up the difference for any district that can't provide sound basic education at the level that they're now able to tax at, that we'll go in and look at it and we'll say if you need more money, you get more state aid. Well, constitutionally, that would be fine. It's the state's responsibility. And of course, that leads me to the fourth thing, which is this growth ceiling that has been built into the law. When I said earlier that they deferred full funding of the CFE amounts for 5 years, well, I'm not sure that they really did that, because at the same time, they put in this growth adjustment idea. And under the growth adjustment idea, as you know, you can't increase school spending statewide in the state aid budget and all beyond a calculation on what the gross income and all in New York State has been over a previous time period. And for this year, that's been calculated at roughly 4%. That's where we get this $800 million that the governor said he really is going to give in increases this year. Well, at that kind of growth level, especially when you build in inflation, I'm not sure we're ever going to get to the full amount of CFE funding, even in 5 years or 10 years or whatever.